Hello?
Scott Bullock.
This is he.
This is Jay Michaels.
Hey, Jay, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm excellent.
If I'm on the line, you're on the air.
Oh, boy. It's begun. Cool.
It has begun. How are you, Scott? Last time I saw you, we were getting drunk on a boat.
Wow, that was a long time. Damn. Yeah, I've moved here now permanently, so that's fun.
Congratulations. Yeah, I remember you were jettisoning back and forth during the initial run of what we're going to talk about today. UVX, the most powerful letters in the entertainment industry. So now UVX, just like you, has moved here to New York, and this is its third year. Now it has a new movie, The Most Dangerous Man. Gorgeous trailer, looks incredible. The same wackiness that I remember from Holme and the initial run of 2 years ago. Tell us about UVX. Tell my listeners about UVX.
Right. Well, UVX, it's the ultimate viewing experience. It is the short version is that it is a transmedia property that combines a hybrid of film and live show to tell a story about robots, basically, and the effect of a robot on media production and the media industry, which is, in this case, sort of run by a company from the 80s that's come out of retirement, in a sense, being run by an AI, and is trying to get the people who go to the show to have 110% more fun. And because it's a robot, it doesn't really understand fun. It gets very weird very fast.
So your audience gets a ton of things. They get this movie. They get The Most Dangerous Man, which looks like your customary 80s action film with huge weaponry and insane army villains and all sorts of things like that. And of course, there's the muscular hero that saves the day. So we get that. But then the real plot line is the fact that the audience can change the movie that they're watching.
Yes. We have a proprietary voting system we built that allows you to use your phone or any internet-enabled device to vote on changes you want to see to not just the film, but the live show itself. So there's actually two levels of choice you get there. And, you'd think hearing that's, a choose-your-own-adventure. I've seen that before. But we don't go the route of, well, does he take the left door or the right door? Because it's not really what we're about. It becomes more, choose-your-own aesthetic of, well, I'm watching an 80s movie. It's a very 80s movie.
Yeah.
And then a vote will come up and says, well, would you like to see this as a Western or as a black and white chivalrous silent movie? And sure enough, the whole thing's been reshot and recut, depending on what you vote for, to provide what it is you want to see. So the whole thing is, I want to say, has 81 end variations.
Wow.
Based on how much... Because there's multiple votes throughout the thing. It's not
That's
just,
right.
well, it's a Western.
You shot the film 80 times. From what I've seen, you shot it 80 times.
It was an absurd undertaking, and our director, Casey, is still, I think, a little bit broken from doing it, but he managed it. He pulled it off, and it turned out great. But we did, in fact, shoot it a lot of times, and it was a lot of work because, we'd go out to, we did a lot of shooting in Andes, New York, so we went upstate, which means we had to bring all of our costumes and all of our various different props, because, a scene might call for, well, in this scene, this character has a big gun, but in the Western version, maybe he's got a stick of dynamite, or he's got a sword, or, so every scene has these different permutations.
So you've taken even improvisation to another level, because you basically, starting at the top, you turned to your actors and said, okay, this is an 80s adventure film. Nope, now it's a Western. Nope, now it's a black and white drama. Nope, now you're in outer space. So you basically started that improv with your actors. Basically, they have to learn a character, and then they have to learn a character 80 different ways. What? And then you're handing your audience.
There's a lot of that.
And you're right. If we talk about like for instance, Black Mirror's Bandersnatch, which seems to be like the pinnacle of this type of thing. Yes, They chose certain endings that flowed into everything, but there was a finite thing. You have created it in such a way with a live show with it that connects to the movie, so that audience, there is no such thing as the same show done once.
Yeah, absolutely. No, with like you said, with Bandersnatch, even and with our movie, while there are a lot of variations, there is at the end a limited number of variations, and they're sort of baked in. And it is technically possible to get the same experience watching The Most Dangerous Man twice, but when you factor in the film vote or the show votes and all the different permutations of that and the individual changes the actors will make to their performances based on the particular audience of the night and how they've already voted, it very much does become, you will never, ever, ever see the same show twice. It's statistically and practically impossible.
Completely. Now you're doing something really good. There was a while ago, people were talking about what do you call them? The projections of actors, holograms of actors. There's one of Laurence Olivier, actually, and so you could still essentially rent his performance. If you did a certain play that he did toward the end of his life, you can rent the video of him in it so that he can be part of it, the hologram of him, so you can be part of it. And there was a big worry about that because, well, does that mean that eventually we won't need actors anymore? Eventually, you could film something once somewhere in a studio and then we don't need that actor ever again. You're kind of going the other direction. You're basically creating this technology that's going to challenge everyone. The audience can't sit there and just zone out on a movie, and the actor can't just say, "Okay, I'm going to phone it in." They need to be so much alive. Do you think it's easy? It's easy to say it in a press release. This is the future. Mm-hmm. Do you think that this is going to be a major element in the terms of the art of performing arts in the future? Do you think this could really be a paradigm shift in terms of theater in general?
I think it really could be, in the sense that the whole our sort of whole deal is this whole transmedia property, and that we're not just theater, we're not just film, we're not just improv, we're not just an online ARG, we're not just pseudo LARP, we're all of that at the same time, and it's especially with the integrated tech elements. I think you see certain elements of it, changing backgrounds and stuff in professional theater, but mm-hmm. The way that those are integrated together and synergized in this show to create a totally different experience, I think is. I won't toot our own horns and say, yes, we are the forefront of theater and no one, this is the way it will be. But I definitely think that there is a lot of interesting things that you can do when you sort of think, well, what if we took the best aspects of this media and the best aspects of this media and tried to do both at the same time? How much further can we push the experience? There you go.
It's not just a glorified amusement park. You're basically saying you are going to hand the audience all forms of communication, all forms of media in one sitting. They're going to sit in that chair, and there's going to be a live show. So they're at the theater. They're going to look at that screen, and there's a movie, and both will change around them. And the app that they use is on their phones. Yes. They download something onto their phones?
Right now, it's actually just you connect to our Wi-Fi network, and then it's a built-in local network thing. You don't even have to download an app. It exists as a web page, effectively.
So they walk into the theater with a charged up phone. They sit there, and everybody looks at their phones anyway. So you just gave them a reason to connect again.
Exactly.
And now they're going to look on their phones, and they're literally going to watch a movie and say, "That's great, but what if it was sci-fi?" And now they've suddenly changed the whole movie.
Yep, that's what happens, and not just the movie, but you'll be presented with votes. Like, do you want to see? In ours, we have our sort of deal this year is the 1D experience. It's a big long Tribeca Q&A gag.
Huh.
Where we think that we here at Lux think that you want a Q&A, but it's just not immediate enough to have it at the end of the film, so you're going to get it in the middle of the film. So there you are, you're watching the movie, and then you get to a part, and the director comes out, and while you're watching the movie, he's trying to explain to you what's going on, and it all falls apart because it's once again all run by an insane robot.
Now there's the parable. There's a huge parable that we're looking into here. You're essentially saying the systems that we think are marvelous, the fact that you're not speaking to a human being anymore to get customer service, we think is so wonderful. You're sort of showing us, oh yeah, you want to press 2 for something? Okay, this is what happens when it goes to the next level. So you're handing us, and we all use this word, the dystopian future, but you're kind of, you're being the devil's advocates, and you're saying, okay, well, you just think whether you want a real person or not. And so you're handing the audience something to think about. Aside from the fun, you're handing them the fact that they can now ponder whether they really want robots running the show.
Yeah. The dystopian present in the sense of letting an algorithm run our lives, right? Letting an algorithm decide what it is that we enjoy most based on what we've liked previously. Like the Netflix algorithm or a Facebook recommendation algorithm, things like that.
Right.
And it's just, what happens if you give the Netflix recommendation algorithm the ability to make a movie? And that's what happens kind of with our show.
Oh, how brilliant. I used to laugh when I would see like a YouTube original movie or things like that, because I'm like, wait a minute, we're just supposed to rent movies from these places. We're just supposed to watch things. What do you mean they're making a movie? So you've essentially given us what's going to happen when all these places say, oh, you like horror movies? Here, I'm making one for you. Wow.
Yep. And not just, I'm making a horror movie for people like you. It's, I've analyzed everything you liked about previous horror movies, and I'm building it custom to your preferences. Or even worse, in our case, halfway through the movie, it realizes, oh, well, he didn't like, this scene. Well, that's fine, because we can change it halfway through. And sort of what experience intended to be had is changed partway through based on, are they having enough fun?
When I first heard this 2 years ago, when we first did it downtown, and we first had the whole May movie going, as there was the wild robots all along the stage, as much as it was so freaking wacky, but when you get right down to it, you guys are brilliant. You're really making a statement to us all that we have to think about. An audience member, thinks how much fun it is that I'm suddenly going to turn it into a Western. I'm suddenly going to turn it into a sci-fi. But it says something about the psyche of the audience. And then, let me get this straight. They're going to change the movie. So everyone in the movie theater now has to deal with that guy over there and his preference to turn it into a Western.
Yes, that is true. It's based on, majority consensus. So there is an element of competition almost against your fellow viewers of, well, I want Western, but he wants chivalry. Let's see what happens.
So again, now you're talking parable. You went to like the good old days of channel surfing. You said, oh yeah, you want to channel surf? Here, let me give you the nightmare version of channel surfing as well.
It's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, it's very much what if you could channel surf through the same movie.
Wow. Okay, so we're in year 3. We got this really, and like I said, it looks elaborate. When I first saw it, I was in you guys' office at one point, and I had seen the trailer and a couple of scenes, and I was like, look at this stuff. This is amazing. Where do you want to now? I remember the good old days. I remember last year you had an interactive party, and now this year we have UVX 2.0.
Yep.
Where's it going now? Where's UVX in the dystopian future?
Well, we're looking to do UVX again, actually, at the end of this year, with the same movie, but a totally different live show. And the other half of our company, FUTUREPROOF, is, we do the UVX, it's kind of our flagship product, but we also have a fully realized and functional, well, semi-functional world outside of that sort of provides context and backstory for why are things this way? Who is this person? Why are they acting and behaving the way that they are? So, like last year, we plan on having events this year as well. And the idea is that as you go to these events, not only will you learn more about the world and the context of UVX, but that you will actually impact and over the course of the year have input on what the next UVX looks like. So yes, at the next UVX you have your level of choice, like you do at any UVX, but this one will go even further in that the audience will effectively help build what that show looks like. I won't go so far as to call it like a crowdsourced theater experience, but it's sort of nudging towards that. And there's going to be a lot of gameplay and a lot of interaction online and in person that will inform and help build a world. That how that UVX goes.
So there, and that's my final point here. You're educating your crowd. You're basically, you're another thing that you're stopping. You're not making the audience sit there and veg out when they turn on their TV, when they watch a UVX. They're essentially learning. They're essentially having to think while watching TV and watching a movie again. So you're taking away that obstacle that we have where you can just veg in front of the TV. No, they're making the movie. They better think hard.
I mean, that's one of the nice things about this project too, is if it caters itself to how much you want to be involved. If you don't want to vote, you don't have to vote. If you really do just want to show up and experience what everyone around you is going to inflict upon you, then that is your prerogative. It's entirely capable to just sit there and treat it as a passive experience.
But even then, it's not vegging. You're going to sit there, and any second you're engrossed in a movie, and in any second it's going to change. So your mind can't at any point just think about dinner. You're on a thrill ride in your seat because that movie's going to change. If you help make it change, so now you feel part of it. If not, you are still part of a whole change. Really brilliant. Absolutely.
We actually compared it a lot to a lot of theme park rides and stuff. We had a long time of trying to figure out what the UVX was closest to. And it's actually closest something to like a Universal Orlando ride or Star Tours or something like that. That's got that blended element of live and film and is treated as an immersive experience of, well, by walking into this theater, you are now part of this world. And in the case of the UVX, part of this movie.
And nowadays, with clubs and on Facebook, with everyone joining different societies and whatever, everybody wants to be a Jedi Knight. Everyone wants to be a Time Lord. Everyone wants to be these things. So you're essentially saying, okay, you can now enter in. You're not going to the movies. You're entering into another world.
That is the goal. We always have. We try to do a lobby experience with every UVX that sort of eases you into the idea that you aren't just going to a movie, that you're watching, you're entering a world that has history, that going back to like the 1940s, that has a cast of characters that you might not see at this UVX, but will be hinted at here and there, that Lux itself isn't just some one-off gag that we put together for this UVX, but we want people to feel like they are walking into sort of the front lines of this larger world and the larger experience that lies behind what you're seeing here.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Well, I'm going to sharpen my thumb so that I can be part of the fun and definitely come to the performance this Wednesday. I will tell our listeners exactly.
Always be happy to have you.
Thank you. I will tell our listeners exactly where and when the show is and how to get there and the fun they're going to have. Scott, thank you so much. It's great chatting with you again. And here's to another drunken boat ride. But until then, I can't wait to see UVX, and I'll see you there.
Thank you very much. We look forward to having you there.
Thanks. I'll talk to you soon.
110% more fun.
I'll see you.
All right, good talking to you, Jay.
Ciao. Same here.
All right, bye.